Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How you doing? It's Russ here from Porker's Corner. Have a look, the biggest gob in sport. I say the things on here that nobody dare say. Well, we're just waiting for Terry Chappendama, my good friend, to log in. So that's all good stuff in it. I don't know where he is. No, it's that one. So, okie dokie. It's good time to be alive, isn't it? You know, Eddie Hill's fighter getting getting iced at the weekend when they thought they had it in the bag. Fantastic. I was driving about this morning thinking, oh, what a great day. Eddie, who have you got now? Crusher Ben's lost. Joshua got flogged on Put on Button Moon. Uni's just got flogged. Wow. Who else has he got? Fisher's just got flogged by the Lazy Rhino. Gimmick fight though, but let's have it right. There's no stars in boxing at the moment, is there? There's no stars whatsoever. So, okie dokie, Terry should be joining us any second. Uh, Terry Chappendana. You know, this weather today, it doesn't know whether it wants to pee it down, does it? Or will be sunny. It's a bit hit and miss, isn't it? Let's see where Terry is. Where's Terry? Where's Terry? Terry's broke his ankle, bless him, and he's been on. Is it Andy? The Andy and Martin. They've been on the sauce, haven't they? They've been on the sauce. Stag do time, eh? Go on, Terry, Martin, Andy. Good luck getting married. Another one bites the dust. Andy, just so you know, they check half. Not that I've ever been married, but they take half. So be very, very careful. If you don't believe me, go speak to Big Ron. He'll tell you about that. Yeah, yeah. So it is what it is. Come on, Terry, what are you doing to me? Well, Max won in Italy. Uh, Big Ron and Max fighting at the Vatican City. Max beat a guy who'd had nearly 60 fights, beat him. Uh, yeah, so good luck to Max. Onwards and upwards. I assume they'll be looking for the Johnny Fisher fight now. No, it is what it is. Here's Terry with his broken ankle.
Yeah, you fucking piss taker. Where have you been?
Have you been hobbling around like Long John Silver in Leeds, Terry?
Who spotted me?
I get to know everything, mate. I get to know. Is that where you went? It is, isn't
Who
it?
spotted me? Now hold on a sec. Who spotted me?
I'm not telling you, mate. I can't tell you. I can't reveal my sources. It was
What? They couldn't buy me a beer. Couldn't let me in. Fucking slugging letters.
so
What's wrong
see
with
your
them?
mate, Terry Chappendama, hobbling around like some hobo in Leeds with a load of drunken men.
Yeah, but hey, amongst those drunken men, Russ were Martin and Andy.
Yeah, is Andy a Leeds kid?
No, we just went up there for a stag do.
All right. What made you pick Leeds?
But I didn't pick Leeds.
Leeds is all right. Do you know, back in the day when I was a young spunker, I used to go to Cherry Tree in Lincoln Green. It was a bit like naughty there, like, but it was all right. It's a good night out, Leeds. Very good people in Leeds. Very, very good. It's a good night, mate. Honestly, it's a real.
Oh, wait, hold on. So someone saw me hobbling, offered me no help at all. Not even like, mate,
See,
do
I
you know what I
wasn't
mean? Can
sure
I
if it
help
were
you?
you, mate. So I wasn't sure if it were Terry, like, but you're staggering about.
No. I wasn't staggering, mate. I've got the big boot on, haven't I?
You go. Well, that's dragging it in, then, isn't it? Did you have a walking stick, Terry?
No. Well, it was just going to be more annoying, wasn't it? So I didn't think I was going to walk that much. You know what I mean? But yeah, um, two broken metatarsals, and then one of these weird bones by my ankles, like crushed. So it's just a bit painful.
What's that from rugby?
Yeah.
Fuck. You're a bit old to be playing rugby, Terry, now.
You a bit old to be podcasting, mate.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck you. Yeah. Did you how many beers did you get down your loads? Brandy.
Oh, mate, nah, I was on the cider this weekend, so I'm
Cider.
absolutely cooked. Yeah, I was on the cider, mate. I'm sweating it out now, Russ, as I'm doing this. I can feel it just coming out of me.
Yeah, yeah, pouring out the system. You know what you need for that, mate? And this is an old trick. Tomato soup. Tomato soup. That's what you need
Well, I
to.
got loads of that. But what saved me was just the door collapse. Since I got in the house, mate, got on the door collapse, flashed everything out in about like 8 hours.
Yeah, so but I usually go for tomato soup, me with a couple of slices of brown bread, loads of butter, cut the crust off, and just sit in bed like, oh, there again. But when I'm at that stage, it usually starts on a Friday, and that's usually a Tuesday. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, that's me today, man. I'm just like, oh. And you know, like when one of your legs is off, right? You got this boot, and it offsets the whole balance of your body goes off, right? So I'm just hurting in places I didn't normally hurt before.
yeah. So it's all good
I
stuff.
love that. I just saw your mate in leave. I
Just
mean,
gone. I've just seen your mate Terry chopping down. Has he done his leg in?
well, if he listened often enough, he'd have known that, wouldn't he? If he'd listened last week.
Yeah. So well, listen. Is when does he get married, Andy?
About 4 or 5 weeks.
Are they going to bring New Age back, him and Martin, you thinking you? Really bring
It's
it
hard.
back at Christmas, don't you? For a one-off.
Yeah, it's hard to get us all back like at the same time. That's the hard bit. Like
Yeah.
before, like we all kind of had the Sundays free, but
Mm.
with life and responsibility, it's just a little bit harder, mate.
Yeah. Okay. Max won last night in the Vatican City.
Devastating, devastating stoppage.
Did you see it? I just sent you it.
Yeah.
Listen, he had Dennis in his corner, big run. So onwards and upwards, and Dennis will probably look to probably get him in with somebody to get a few quid out of the job now, only Fisher or
Nah, I don't see why he can't fight someone like he could probably fight Usyk.
Max and Usyk. Come on, Terry, stop trolling.
Why not?
Why not Johnny Fisher? I mean, he's not that much further
Chuck
than
Weapon have fought Muhammad Ali. Do you know what I mean? Like Max can fight Usyk.
Max and Usyk. Well, let's see if Max can get some decent sparring out of the job. Eh? He's had a win. What is he, 4-1 now? So
Most informed boxer in the country right now.
most info. Well, he's racking up round wins, isn't he? So good luck to Max. He's loyal and he likes to be around. I'm not saying he's earning low. It's not that he needs it anyway, but he just wants to do it. And good luck to him. He's chasing his dreams, isn't he? Do you
He's got
know?
to lose weight though. He just had, he's got to lose like 20 kilos in my opinion.
Well, Dennis has called him Hercules, and she's just said to me, "You've got a muscle on his body muscle."
Yeah, because it just slows him down. Like he'd be a lot quicker if he was 20 kilos lighter because like if none of it's leg weight. Like it's not like he's put weight on in his legs. Like it's all upper body weight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a big lad. He looked in great shape, Max. When I first met him, he had that gym and that up at Scarborough and that. But if you're not using your stuff and that, do you know what I mean? It's if you're not training and just, I mean, I've come to the conclusion that to look half all right, it's what you eat, isn't it, Terry? Really, do you think? And the actual training, because everybody puts some effort in when they train. We go spoil it when we go pub, don't we? And
Yeah. You start eating
takeaways and
crap,
stuff.
like you get the chips and then the nachos, and before you know it, man, you're waking up on Sunday just sluggish. Like since I've been back, Russ, I've just eaten a bit of fruits and vegetables, but just everything else has been meat.
Isn't it easy
And
to put £10 on over a weekend, Terry? If you let your son go,
yeah, yeah. Oh, easily.
very easy. Okay then. As soon as we're just doing a 40 minute today, right? Let's cut to the chase. The current state of play. I want to start straight away with boxer and Adrian Mole, Ben Shalom. What do you think to the situation there? And do you feel that they've tried to cut his legs off for 4 years? The powers that be, them behind the scenes, other promoters and other people in the industry. What do you think? I mean, I've even seen interviews where Johnny Nelson's throwing him to Wolves. I've dug a few up and had a look, and I thought they've not really been behind this kid from day one, have they?
I just think you know this. It's hard to get. And look, let's call Ben what he was 4 years ago. He was a rookie. It's hard to get a rookie in to replace Eddie Hearn. And like you're not replacing Eddie Hearn at the beginning of his run. You're replacing Eddie Hearn kind of at the top of his run.
Like putting Gerrard in after Klopp, in it. They weren't going to do it, were they?
No, 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 you weren't going to do that. Well, no, I just said we've been like putting Carragher in after Klopp. I mean, because he's clueless.
What? Be even worse, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So, so he was always on a hiding to nothing. He didn't have the contacts in boxing to make all the right signings. It seems like if you think about the first roster that they had when they started with Sky, a lot of people from the northeast that weren't very good. Like whose idea was that? Do you know what I mean? All there's always the stuff we can look back on and go, he just didn't know anything. And I reckon if Ben Shalom were to start again now, he'd know a lot more. But I think his lesson has to be boxing doesn't get done if you don't have relationships. And we know that now, Russ, don't we? The amount of stuff that happens over a beer and a handshake because people like each other is ridiculous.
Unbelievable. Absolutely. You've been there yourself when Dennis has closed deals in casinos, haven't you? After we've been to boxing his shows and
Yeah,
but they say, look, we're having a deal. Yeah, there you go, and that's it. And then the deal with I've seen him do deals with Phil Jeffries and other people, and that's how it's done, isn't it? Usually over a beer when people are steaming drunk. Uh,
yeah.
I
Well,
don't think he ain't got that little bit of charisma about him, has he really, to
nah.
pull off?
And what he didn't do was he didn't hire someone who had that. Like, I know they fell out, but someone like Dennis would have been perfect as a mentor for Ben Shalom because Dennis has got the kind of roots into everybody. And that's what he needed. He needed someone to bring him in and say, look, here's Ben. He's doing a thing with Sky. He's the guy to talk to if you want to be seen on British TV. And I mean, someone like Dennis could have put him over like that, and he would have been all right, I think. But they put too much pressure on him. They thought the Sky machine would be enough to carry him through. They wanted someone they could control, and then they realized actually we don't want someone we can control. We want someone that can
Knows
drive
what
this
they're
business
doing.
forward. Yeah, and so
Well,
yeah, they just had regrets. And I don't look, it's easy to give Ben Shalom a kicking. I don't think anybody coming in off the street could have done that job.
do you know when you look at it in the cold hard light of day, right? He did a handful of shows, did he? Went 4 or 5 on his own.
Yeah,
And Paul Greaves were holding his hand for 3 of them, wasn't he? Do you know?
yeah.
And then who were the guy? Johnny Wish was supposed to be holding his hand all the way through. Well, he hadn't done a good job, has he? Really?
He kind
Well,
of disappeared early on, didn't
yeah, I
he?
know,
It
yeah.
was like,
Well, one Hennessy guiding him and all that. Well, why don't they just give me the dates? But what I think they should do now is share them dates out because he had 20 dates a year. What's he done? 44 or something, 41 or
45, it feels like.
45 shows in 4 years. Well, Eddie had done the full 80, wouldn't he? So, but they can't fill the slots. So if they're not putting no out, it's no good. But
But Hearn's got a different balance sheet. Like
yeah,
he was already sitting on cash.
yeah. Well, why don't they let them let promoters let it be a free for all and let them audition to get on there and say, well, this is what want to put on. Because back in the day, Sky were giving 150 grand a show to the promoter. Now, how promoters work it, and I know that for a fact, they say, right, well, I'm going to have that 150 for myself, so we're going to sell it on social media. Right, we're going to push it to death, sell all the tickets, and all the tickets is going to pay for everybody. And if they've got all the tickets in, all the fighters on the left and all the ticket money in, we're not. They more or less know what they're going to take on the night. We're going to say, right, we're going to have to pull him off, and him off to make it profitable. So we're not dipping into our 150 because there's judges, inspectors, referees to pay, security, and arena hire. It all has to come out at tickets. So if they can do all that and the promoter pockets the 150, that's how it works. But eventually, what happens is down the line, certain promoters, once they get comfortable, they think, well, I'm having that 150, and then I'm going to take a little bit of this, and I'm going to cut back on this, and I cut back on that, and your 10 car fights become 7, and it becomes shit. And then they start digging people up who've got a bit of a name for themselves from the past, and people buy into that nostalgia. And before you know where you are, it's fucking free for all, isn't it? You know, like your Kell Brook, Amir Khan. Piss off with that. I don't want to see that. Women's boxing, there's only an handful of fights you can put on that we're interested in. The rest is garbage. Terry Harper against a 43-year-old for a world title fighting Donny. They voted with their feet, didn't they, afterwards? And we're not going to watch her again. You see where I'm coming from? So, and especially that she's a backpedaler and not engaging, that's where women's boxing's at, isn't it? So, do I feel for Ben Shalom? No, because he's a bit aloof and a bit of a cock. So, and he got a little bit clever. So, Tatar's what I say. But I don't agree with the ganging up on him that they've all done. They've cut his legs off from the beginning, haven't they? Which brings me to The Mexican Boxing Board of Control. You saw what happened, didn't you? They pulled Adam Azine, didn't they? So, what's
Yeah.
your opinion on that? Is that out to do with Hills? Hills! Eddie
so
Hills, the Iceman!
so all of these governing bodies have reciprocal agreements, right? And so the deal is we will respect your rules in our country if you respect our rules in your country.
Mhm.
And so what happened with that, a good example of that was, do you remember when Tunde had his nephew, Junior, little Otu, Junior Saba, right?
Yeah,
And he was meant to fight with the Mayweather card. I think it was Mayweather Pacquiao.
yeah.
And they pulled him. The board said he can't, right? So the board wrote to the Las Vegas Athletic Commission and said, look, there's been a brain scan issue here. You can't clear him over there. And they said, all right, if that's your rule over there, we respect it. We're not going to clear him over here. So he never got to fight on that card.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot between governing bodies. If something's off and you're a German fighter and the German board say, no, 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 we didn't clear him, the board won't clear you here.
So the
So,
board did it for safety reasons, then? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
well, the Mexicans said, look, we don't allow boxers to use saunas. The board are like, well, actually, neither do we. So fair enough, we'll respect this.
Well, Shane McGuigan was spitting, wasn't he?
Yeah, fuming.
Yeah, but you've got to understand, Terry, that they let Chris. Look, what Chris Eubank Jr. were putting pictures on Sky Sports of him in sauna and everything, wasn't he? And the rehydration clause. So Roberto Smith, don't talk to us about safety issues.
No, 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 no. I remember I told you at the time, Russ, Eubank made weight. All that stuff was for the media.
Okay then. Okay then. Well,
Because no
is
one ever
that
spoke
safe
about
though?
the
A
fight.
rehydration clause is that safe? Because you heard what Adam Booth said about it, didn't you? They put a man in a ring that wasn't able to perform at his best because of a rehydration clause. So if Smith can allow that, why couldn't he stop that? Do you know what I
So how
mean?
much under was Eubank from his real fight weight? If he comes in at 170, is he £5 below what he would have been, or is he £10 below? We don't actually
I
know the
don't
answer.
really know because there's a lot of bullshit around all that. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
pictures in Portugal are Eubank Senior, English, wherever he's called, and bruv, Nigel Benn, and the missuses out and about. So I thought there were intense beef there and all that. It's a load of old pony with
Remember, I told you, I've said this on here before. I reckon those two have been mates for years,
all
and
along, mate, all along.
yeah, they're mates. They've been mates for years, and they just realized that they can stoke this beef to sell meet and greets and all this sort of stuff, right? They know that the Nigel Ben Eubank rivalry is money. It's money in the bank.
That's how I look at it. But I just think that there's got to be some consistency with drug bans, drug testing, and blah de blah. But Roberto Smith, he never pulled the Lee Purdy fight against Devon Alexander, and Eddie Hills, sorry, he admitted that he'd been sat in sauna with him, didn't he, twice in fight week, and he got a small fine. But the Boxing Board of Control were affiliated with the commission that did the Lee Purdy Alexander fight. Why didn't they pull that one then when they had it in front of their eyes on IFL? Yeah, well, I was sat in sauna with him. We couldn't get by 147 and a half. There were no left in him. Well, they got a fine. They got what, a grand, but why didn't they pull that fight? So why pull this? And this were only hearsay. The kid never admitted it.
Yeah,
So was it one rule for one rule for other, or did they do that just to seal the deal that he ain't getting any slots at Sky? Because that looks to me like he could still get Sky dates, but not as many. Maybe they might be shared now. You know, like they did with uh, when Warren and all them had it, and Warren said, "No, I'm going to do my own thing," because they offered him 4 dates out of the 20, didn't they, Warren? So
yeah, it was terrible. That was a terrible time for boxing. That was
yeah, yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
I
So
think you got to give it to someone on an exclusive basis, in my opinion. So if you're going to give it to Hennessy, give it to Hennessy. But my worry with Hennessy
he ain't
is,
got no fighters. Who's he got? Who's he going to put on? Yui.
there you go. That's what you've always wanted.
No, we wanted Yui on Sky, but we need Yui in some proper fights, don't we? We don't want to see him in the Dan Garber rematch, do we?
Oh God, no.
Well, is that where they're at now? They've got to keep digging Dan Garber up. They dig him up for Yui, they dig him up for Matty Harris. Don't nobody want to work with him? Or is it politics behind the scenes because Peter don't get on with Bricktop? Is that what it is? People needs to come out and speak. They mind tiptoeing around it because Peter's not going to knock Bricktop off to get on a show. So they're out in wilderness, aren't they? Really, at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
they need
look,
them Sky dates, don't they? But would Sky have Yui on? He don't do tickets. He don't let his right hand go. He's not engaging. Well, what? Nobody's saying he can't fight. He's got
Yeah.
skill to burn. He's never been down, but you're
But
talking.
his problem is, see, when he was really flying, yeah, there weren't many heavyweights.
No.
Since he's been away, look at everyone that's stepped up now. He's not needed anymore.
Max is more active than Yui.
You know, is Max higher ranked yet?
I don't know what Max is. He's got a decent ranking at UK. I'd have thought now. He was ranked 30 odd, wasn't he? So he might get some sparring now, but you'd have to be careful who you put it in because put him in with. Even though he's got a ramrod jab and he's powerful, he's too heavy, isn't he? To
Yeah,
land that right hand, and he's too heavy to get out of way, isn't he, against anybody who's a mover. So Dennis will have to match him correctly, but he is a powerful kid. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. If he jabs you, he'll hit you. Do you know?
yeah.
So we'll see, won't we? But it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving backwards. Right, let's have a look what we've got here. Uh, Callum Simpson. What do you think to him? Is he the new Froch? That's what they're saying.
Nowhere near. Nah, nah.
We got to put that guy away, Annie. That guy. I mean, he would on his seat of his pants, wasn't he? I know he's seen it through, but I think he's probably an English British level kid that fluked to European deal.
Yeah, because he was getting dropped with shots, but I was like, I don't know if that should be dropping you, mate. Because that Zuko guy is not a monster. He's not a Christian and Billy. I mean, there are guys at 168 that can genuinely detonate bombs on your chin,
Yeah.
and they're going to connect. And I don't know if Callum Simpson can hold those sorts of shots.
No,
And the
no.
thing is, because he loves a tear up, yeah, he's going to get caught with those shots.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, rest of the show, I'm not really interested. Zelfa Parrott had a win. Looked a different fighter altogether, didn't he?
Yeah, looked like he had a point to prove.
What is Joe doing now? Is he just telling him, listen, let your fucking hands go? Because Lawrence is letting his go, Zelfa's letting his go, and I mean, Jim's flying. Jack Massey's dropping people and sparring and training even harder. And there's a kid there that they reckon is really special, that Mikey Talon. There's other kids in that there. Josh Holmes is it. Listen, that gym is thriving at the moment, mate. I'm not saying it because we like Joe, but he's hung in there, only when they tried to cut his legs off, didn't they? Hills and co.
Mm. Joe's a survivor, man.
Well,
Survivor.
he's Turkey's right hand man now, isn't he?
Yeah. Gives him little nuggets of advice. You know, this is what's going on.
So it's all good stuff. So good luck to Zelfa Barrett and Joe G there and rest of the gym. Champs camp. Uh, right, here we go, the big one. We'll finish off on this for the next 18 minutes. Fabio Wardley's show at Ipswich with 27,200 people. I don't think that's bad for his first football show, do you? First football
Oh,
stadium
that's excellent.
show.
In Ipswich, that's excellent.
In Ipswich,
That's like 80%
middle,
of Ipswich in the
middle of
stadium.
nowhere, the part of the country where nobody talks about, and it's absolutely beautiful down there, Terry. Absolutely stunning area to live in. Uh, I thought he were getting outboxed, but I also knew he had the equaliser because I've heard he punches very hard. But what I don't like to see this morning is boxer-sized Ben Davidson doing Monday mass sermons after the Sunday sermons. I'm a bit pissed off with it because he's not done all the fucking heavy lifting, has he? Ben Davidson. And his game plan weren't working like the Lee Wood one weren't working, were it? And he got his son out of trouble a couple of times with that. Over to you, Terry.
If you look at Ben Davison, how many rounds have his fighters actually won? Like if you look at his fighters, not many.
Josh,
Like no, they don't win many rounds, right?
no, no.
Unless they're overmatched against someone, then they do.
Yeah.
But in what I call real head-to-heads, they don't win many rounds. His reputation's held together right now because he's got people in his gym that have power. If Lee Wood had no power, be a problem. If Joshua had no power, be a problem. If Alois Jr. had no power, he'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
If Wardy didn't have power, Ben Davison's reputation would be in tatters because kids are losing rounds they shouldn't be losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my opinion. And look, I'm just saying, I've said it for years. Ben's still learning how to be a coach. And you and I talked about this years ago. And I said, the analyst thing will get you so far. the sitting down and watching video can get you so far, but there's going to come a time when you actually have to know how to put it together yourself. You can't just copy what the old guys did. You have to be able to create something yourself. And he hasn't been able to do that yet. If you look at who he's had guys like Chris Congo. I'm not seeing much difference in Chris Congo. He's got Jamie TKV. The thing with Jamie is they try to change Jamie from being a nasty, aggressive pressure fighter into this jab and move guy who Jamie isn't. And when that wasn't working really against Adelaide, now they're going back to, right, let's go back to the Jamie everyone knows. There's just a lot of stuff there that's smoke and mirrors in my eyes. Because for that reason, a lot of Ben Davison's wins have come because someone could just crack. Like no real like insight or intellect to it. Look at the Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder fight he was in charge with. Like he took everything good about Fury and just left it on the table. It wasn't until he would just say, look, let your hands go against Wilder. Just beat him up. And he did that twice and destroyed him.
My argument, Terry, is this. Ben Davidson always seems to come in at the end of the when everybody else has done all the heavy lifting with these fighters that he's got. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
We're going to see him do something with somebody from a debut. That's what I want to see. Then we can judge him but it's kind of hard in boxing because people very rarely see a full term out with one trainer, don't we? So maybe I'm being a bit harsh there. But I want to see people judged on what they do with somebody from scratch. You know.
Well, it's tough, right? Because I
Yeah.
see certain kids and I'm like, the pro coach hasn't done anything. It was the amateur guy that did all of this stuff. The pro coach is just getting him fit, getting him strong, and getting him ready. He's not really teaching him anything new. I have loads of guys I can look at and say that's true, just because I've seen them come up. So it's very hard to give a trainer credit for certain things. But when you're losing as many rounds as Wardley was against Hooney, when Lee Wood was losing rounds, when all these guys are losing rounds, you have to just look at it and go, mate, what's going on with the tactics?
Well, I watched the fight and I think Fabio Wardley can't keep taking blows like that because he's going to end up like the lazy rhino, isn't he? You know what I mean? That's what he's going to end up like, being knocked about and that. And keep repeating yourself constantly. I mean, how many times do we hear Dave Allen keep going on about when Usyk knocked him out, stood up? It's a boring crap story now, isn't it? How many more times can you keep repeating that? Does he know he keeps repeating it, or can't he think of something else to say? Things like that. And I think that's from getting blows to head. I don't think it's as David's fucking boring. I think it's just the being hit on. Ed Froch does the same thing. He used to tell me so. I think, well, you told me that last week. And I think it's because they're getting blows to Ed. Did you spot this with fighters as well?
Well, people getting blows to the head.
No, fighters fucking repeating themselves like airborne repeaters that you only need to get out once a year on bombing night. Do you know what I mean? They keep telling you the same thing, and I'm not digging Clinton that because I get on really well with Clinton Woods and speak to him regularly, but Clinton's a little bit the same, and I think but not as bad as others. But I think it's because they've been hitting Ed. I do, and I think it's something that needs to be looked at. Do you know what I
But
mean?
also, there's a thing where they've got nothing else to tell us. Like, I don't want to know about, how much ceramic wax they put on their car or anything like that, do I? So there's only a handful of stories they can really tell.
Is that why Adam Smith's like he is when he's telling us about Josh Warrington's stamp collection when he's coming out to the ring?
And his GCSE results,
Oh, that
a
who is
couple of
it? Do you remember him
resits.
with yeah, I was speaking to him yesterday at the weigh-in, Johnny. And he showed me the drawing. He's gonna have a spider's web tattooed on his arm to go with the other 9 tattoos he's got. I don't want to hear about tattoos, Bean. I want to hear you when somebody's thrown a punch. Do you know what I mean? That's all because back in the day, I watched the other day, I watched a couple of Ali fights. And isn't it great going back in time watching fights where you just see the action, don't you? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't want to hear Mr. Bean going on and on and on. And Macklin's become like that as well now. And John Rawlings were like that. What they do, they're trying to they're trying to tell us something that we're not seeing, but they think they're seeing it. It's all designed. to get rematches, I think, and keep put and curry favour with certain promoters. For example, and I'll point this out now. If you watch a DAZN show when Darren Dazzling Barker's there, who married into Matchroom, when you listen to him, when the opponent starts landing, we have fucking silence. But
Yeah,
when Uizit starts throwing a jab, it might not land. And he's putting them together now. What? He's thrown a jab and it's been blocked. Do you see where I'm coming from? There's an
yeah,
agenda, and it's all designed. If the guy's losing, to get him in mixed to say, "Well, it could have gone either way," and that can affect sponsors and rematch and the fans' mindset because they're coming into our homes on TV. So that's why I turn it off, especially if Barker's on. He has become probably the worst one out there, worse than Macklin, and he's on a level with Bean. But the bad thing is, him and Bean on the same show, it's all got to be turned off, Terry. It's got to be fully turned down. Do you know what I mean? The only one I like listening to is Duke McKenzie. He's the only one. And there's another one as well who you like, and I forgot his name now. There's Duke McKenzie and another one who you always going about who's bang on. Is it Andy Clark?
nah.
No, who is it? Who's the other one then? He's not bad, Andy Clark. Who's the one you
I
like?
don't know. Barry Jones isn't bad, although
Barry
he's
Jones,
becoming a
not. Well,
company
Barry
man.
Jones turned around and said if you put Wardley in with Usyk, because talking Wardley, Usyk can talk sport this morning. Have you seen it? He says
Nah.
if you put him in with him, he'll get ruined. He'll get ruined. It'll be a rebuild job. So well done,
But
Barry
but but
Jones. But
there are a few guys that if you put Wardley in with, he'll get ruined. I was talking to John Palata last night, and like John's done tens of rounds of Fabio over the years because like they came up around the same time, and we're just reminiscing about the old times. And there was always this feeling, and I think I said it in my pod as well. There's always this feeling that you can outbox Fabio Wardley
mm,
because he needs time to set himself
yeah,
because he he's a coach's dream in many ways, right? Because he will do what he's asked to do.
yeah.
But because of that, it means that he has to stop and think. And people
That's
won't
to what?
notice that. He has to stop and think. Yeah. And stuff
It's
is
pretty
is
basic though, Terry, isn't he, really? But he does the basics very, very well, doesn't he?
but that's all you can do if you've come to the sport late with no experience, right? You're like, right, let me just be 10 out of 10 with my jab, 10 out of 10 with my backhand, and 10 out of 10 with my footwork.
Mm,
Because like stuff like defense is the hardest thing to learn in boxing
yeah.
because it's the one thing where you don't control the inputs.
Mm,
Whereas when you're attacking, you can control the inputs, but you can't control the inputs when you're defending. So there's a lot of skill required with that, which is why the best defensive guys start boxing really, really young.
mm.
And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Like I think a good fight for someone like Fabio Wardley would be like a Michael Hunter, like a smaller guy, busier guy that knows his way around the ring, or Caballero.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good fights,
Nobody's calling Caballero out, are they?
mate, because he's good. like we have to look at that Chisora loss now with different eyes.
Looking across the board, Terry, Derek Chisora is the highest ranked IBF guy in at number two, but number one's not rated, so technically he's number one, isn't he? WBO Atoma after 12 fights. I don't know how they pulled that off. WBA Fabio Wardley, he cemented that number one. And Lawrence Akoli, WBC number one. He's a cruiserweight and bridgerweight world champion. They're all with Queensbury.
That was always the plan.
Dillian Whyte against Atoma, Queensbury. What do you think to that fight? Got 9 minutes left.
Mate, Frank never forgets.
Well, you know what we said, don't you? Eubank Senior had 5 defeats. He got flogged to death in all five on Bricktop shows. And then we've got Dylan White, who basically stood on Warren's neck and then said, I want the money in escrow. And what they were hell on, weren't they? Do you remember? He had that
Yeah.
American lawyer, Jeffrey, running around saying, no, it's going to be in escrow. They had a lot of messing about to do. And he got paid. And I tell you what, Bricktop can turn around in that interview that he did the other night, Saturday night, and say, yeah, Dylan always turns up for a battle. Good fighter, good fighter. He's just getting him over the line to get a good hiding for so Bricktop can have his revenge in his head kind of thing. He's that type
Mm-hmm.
of guy, isn't he? He'll get flogged in. He'll probably have a package deal if he gets beat against Moses to cushion it, but to say they've got him in there with him is good. So the fact that he's fighting a Toma and knows he'll get beat, that means the Joshua fight's not there, doesn't it? So it looks like they're hanging around for Fury with Joshua, doesn't it? By the looks of it, because all the pieces are falling into place now, aren't they? Do you think?
Well, hanging it, Josh has got three options. He's had the same three options for the last 2 years. The Miller fight, I think we still pay to see. The Wilder fight will definitely pay to see. The Fury fight will definitely pay to see.
Well, he came out, didn't he, yesterday, Spencer Brown, and said, "Well, I prefer Tyson to fight Usyk next, and then Joshua, because the Joshua fight's always going to be there, isn't it?
And Josh is not getting any better either.
He's not getting any better, not even with boxer size Ben, the go-to guy. Maybe they should go to Joe McAnally."
Or Adam Booth. Let's take it all
Or
the way
Adam
back.
Bull is back on the scene with Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly, Crusher Ben, we want to see that. Yeah, like they're going to put that on.
Why not? I'd make Conor the favorite in that one.
Hey,
I'd have Conor as the favorite in that fight.
would you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Women's boxing, Terry. Where's it heading?
To MVP, right? It's all headed to Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, Savannah's signed there. Now she'll be fighting in America now, apparently, for next 2 or 3 fights. So where's that leave her team if they can't get out there? Who's going to do a corner?
Well, we might have to, mate.
We might have to send Clifton Mitchell out, like they did when Tyson fought Cunningham. He got dropped in that fight, Tyson, didn't he?
But not a bad guy to have in your corner.
No, Clifton's a good boxing guy, but he's more of a manager, isn't he, really, than a trainer, isn't he?
He knows his stuff, though. Nah, he definitely knows his stuff.
Hey, listen, I used to be a Clifton Mitchell groupie. He were putting guys on Butter Moon back in day, kid, in Mansfield. Choo! After Butter Moon. He's put more men on Butter Moon than John Fury. What? Go on. All right. So, other than that,
Well,
I'm
you
all
your
right.
lunch cooked. You got your
Hey?
lunch ready, mate.
No, she's going to her mum's. She's off today, and I'm going to go out on my mountain bike after I've done Ryan. So I've been trained hard this morning, kid. I've increased the weight. You know when you increase your weight at gym and you do the same session. I've only increased it, but to 1.5, 1.25, 1.25. So what's that? 2.5 kilo. But for arms and stuff like that, and you think, I didn't think I'd be able to do that. And when you can, you think it's called progress.
So what you do? Just four bicep curls,
I
little walk
do
around the
for
gym.
arms. I do 8 sets of 25 because I can't be bothered to mess about in different positions and that. I just rep out, don't I? 8 25s, and it takes me about 25 minutes, and that's it done. That's it done. But I've increased it today because I thought I'd show off. But I'm on that weight. What's it? I'm not on the diet part, and I'm on that full. What they
You're on
call
the way stuff or the mass
the
gainer.
weight one. Yeah, Rich Kaspari.
Oh, you got the Gaspari nutrition stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's dear, like, but it's all right.
Get pricing, man.
Pardon, Max fetched me some down, didn't he, when I was really ill a good few years ago. And it's bang on. It's bang on, that kind of stuff. That weight, that shred stuff, it's all right for taking weight off, but trying to get some on now, kid.
Yeah, but you're gonna get by what? About just 16 and a half?
No, I'm trying to get to 12. I'm still stuck on 11, 9.5, nearly 11.
Or just to call out Froch. Look, I'm 12 stone now.
Yeah, I'll take Frotch down, man. I want his old nose Frotch now, isn't he? Now, he's about 14, Frotch, but he'd be too big for me. I've got to
Is
get.
he?
He'd be too big for me, Frotch. You'd fill me in, yeah. But
No, I don't know. You
see,
got you
that's
got the
another
hand.
thing he said. Get to 12 stone and I'll spar you. Another cock off job, isn't it? You meet these people, and they just don't stick to the word, Terry, do they? A bit like Dennis.
Well, listen,
So
get to 12 stone.
yeah, I've only need £4, 4.5 pound, and I'm a 12 climber. It's all good, isn't it? All good.
Yeah.
What are you now, about 16?
About
18.
17-10.
Well, I've seen you shaping up on my cousin's bag at Skello, and I wouldn't like to take you on, Terry. You're a lump. You're a lump.
Nah, I got to get down to 100 though. So I'm trying to get down to 100 kilos. Meant to be playing in a rugby tournament at the end of the month, and I'm too heavy to play at the moment. So I'm just trying to drop some weight, but I can't do
Yeah.
anything. my legs screwed. So I'm
You know,
just
you
there.
lose weight. Just
Yeah,
don't eat, mate, and it comes off. Trust me. I know it's hard and that. You just skip meals. And it falls
yeah.
off.
That's all I end up doing, mate. Is I go to Tesco and I just buy the chicken and sweet corn soup because I know that's about 300 calories per tub, and it'll fill you up. It's like 600 grams, right? So it's going
Yeah.
to fill you up. And I'll take 300. So you can do two of those in a day instead of a meal, and you'll feel good. And you know you've saved about 1,000 calories that day. You just keep doing it that way.
Hey. Okay, okay. Well, listen. Thanks for coming on. I love you
No
today.
worries, mate.
I've got Ryan on now from Bolton. Like
Hey, lovely
he's all
part of
right,
the
Ryan,
world.
isn't he? Nice kid.
Yeah, miss the days of Burnden Park though. To be fair,
Mr. Daisy what?
Burnden Park. We in Bolton Wanderers used to play at Burnden Park instead of the
Oh
big.
yeah, when they had Big Sam there.
Yeah, and then who was it before that? Bruce Rio.
Yeah, hey, listen. Remember, every Christmas, if Sam Allardyce ain't got a job, the newspapers, his friends in the media always pipe up, don't they, like Oliver Holt, saying, yeah, let's parachute Big Sam in. They're always parachuting him in with his 8 men with him, and they all need paying off within 9 months, don't they?
It's a good gig.
Oh, all right then, mate. Well, listen, you take
All
care.
right, you take
Have
care.
a good
All
night.
right, pal.
Have a good day, rest of the day. Cheers, Terry.
All right, bye.
Well, that was Terry Chappendama, good friend of mine. Women love him, men want to play rugby with him and stand on his ankle. Poor Terry. Lumping it round leaves out his brains. So, okie dokie. Well, peace out. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get up to 15 and a half. I think we'll need 2 people, 15 and a half. We're getting there slowly. You see, we don't buy views and we don't buy subs like other channels. Booyaka. What have we got left here? I've got a guy coming on tomorrow called Steve, who's a big hitter in the social media scene, and he's going to be looking at things behind the scenes for Porky's Corner, analytics and that, because we've been taking bad advice for about 8 years. But what can you do? So, all right, one piece out.